Welcome in. Postgame show from SDH. Atlanta United advances. Wasn't pretty, but 3-2 win over Columbus after, 30, 40-minute rain delay? 47-minute lightning delay. Atlanta held their nerve and saw the game out. It was difficult, I think, to find the intensity, but I did like how just savvy they were at the end. Yeah. Yes, there was time wasting, and yes, it was needed. So, welcome to the Open Cup. Yes. Survive and advance. Atlanta United does that. They will host the quarterfinals of the Open Cup at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, according to Chris Furmeister. And they will play either St. Louis FC or FC Cincinnati on July 10th. Jason Longshore, John Nelson here from the patio at Hampton and Hudson in Inman Park. Good turnout tonight for the game. I'm not sure what it was for other viewing parties around town, but good turnout. Crazy trivia tiebreaker that we just witnessed.
It was 3 separate steps. They go to rock, paper, scissors to break an 8th-place tie.
Yeah, it was like a best of 8 finals for the rock, paper, scissors, and you had people get eliminated at the quarterfinal stage, and then at a semifinal, the final went a whole bunch of rounds. And now there's another question or something going on. I'm intrigued.
So let's see. So we had a best of 8 to determine one, and that was rock, paper, scissors. Round 2, you had 6, and now we're down to 3.
Wow. If you are into the team trivia, Hampton and Hudson's a pretty intense trivia experience. So I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
If you guys have questions out there listening, tweet at us at Soccer Down Here, at Longshoe on Twitter, at OSG Nelson on Twitter. Let us know what you're thinking.
Can't look at his phone because it died.
Yeah, we got the Hootsuite up. So don't tweet John because he can't even help you.
No.
He might help you tomorrow if he figures it out.
Yeah, really?
But tweet at us. We've got the Hootsuite up. We've got the Twitter up as well. We have the stats from the match as well. Let's get into that. Pretty even game. When you look at the team numbers here, 13 shots for Columbus, 11 for Atlanta, 6 shots on target for the Five Stripes, 5 for Columbus. Possession, 50.7% for Atlanta, 49.3% for Columbus. Very, very even game. Duels, Atlanta led that, especially in the second half. 54% of the duels Atlanta won, 56% in the second half they won. Really, nothing else jumps out except for Columbus committed 22 fouls. Yeah. Atlanta committed 12. That's about it.
And the question for Columbus was who didn't get a yellow.
There were a bunch. You look at
Santos. I don't know how Santos didn't get a yellow.
I have no idea how Pedro Santos didn't get a yellow. I have no idea how David Acom didn't get a yellow. Patrick Mullins did. Guzman did. Cornale did. Offal did. On the Atlanta side, Barco, Merrim, LGP all get yellows. It was, a contentious conclusion to the match, which you would expect in a cup match. Brandon Vasquez is your Open Cup hero. Goal in the 5th minute on a bad turnover. Miles Robinson with a goal off a corner kick from Barco in the 14th. Then David Acom pulls it back to 2-1. Vasquez in the 65th minute from LGP on a long ball where Vasquez 1v1 just toasts Alex Cornale. Then they gave an own goal to Brad Gazan in the 71st. I think that's incredibly harsh.
Yeah.
The conditions, it skips. It does take a touch off Gazan. I think that ball is on goal. We didn't get the best of replays. If they judged that the ball was not anywhere near going on goal and it goes off of Gazan in, okay. I feel like that's kind of harsh in these conditions. Give the guy a goal.
Yeah, I would have given it to Francis the way that I wrote it down in my notes on a napkin with a Sharpie pen.
Yes.
So I gave Francis the goal in the 71st. I did not treat it as an OG.
Yeah, well, Opta disagrees.
I'm stunned.
Chances created, both with 8. Both teams had 8. Barco with 4. David Guzman from Columbus with 4. Barco, I thought, was really good here tonight. Yep. Vasquez in front of goal, obviously. It was, a night where, as the conditions deteriorated, there wasn't as much good soccer going on, and it was about the fight. And you saw that from not just your starters, but Breck Shea came on, was getting into tackles. Andrew Carlton hustling defensively. Florentine Pogba with an intervention as the team shifted to a 5-4-1. I mean, it was a cup performance.
And looking just at the different names that I have written down over the span of a 40-minute run. PT, Parkhurst, Miram, and this is for various things. This isn't just for one aspect of play. PT, Parkhurst, Miram, Guzan with the kick save in the 59th, which came up big. Then you have, obviously, Brandon Vasquez. You have Andrew Carlton with his move, with the defense that he had standing folks up. You've got Florentine Pogba came in, what you meant for that one clearance. LGP with his form as well. Escobar with I want to say in the 88th, the defensive play that created the transitional opportunity for Barco that couldn't quite close the door. And then you had Breck Shea working both offensively, defensively. So I just had a lot of names showing up tonight and doing the job that needed to be done in some trying conditions up at Mopfret.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fight. That's what happens in these types of conditions. That's what happens in a cup match like this, where it is back and forth. It has a little bit of a different flow. The delay for Lightning didn't help the quality of play either. It was even scrappier when they came back.
Yes.
The Colonel was timing us. We did start at 10:02 after I tweeted 10. We were waiting to see what was going to happen with this tiebreaker in this trivia. It was nuts. We were also waiting for the patio to clear out a little bit because said tiebreaker was happening right in front of us.
There were 38 people here, Colonel.
Yes, it was hectic. It was crazy. Then Fallout Boy started playing, and we were trying to dodge all of the
dodging
rock, paper,
Fallout
scissors.
Boy.
No, we weren't dodging Fallout Boy. We were dodging rock, paper, scissors. Let's get into some of the tweets, and if you guys have comments on the match, tweet at us at Soccer Down Here at Longshoe. Don't tweet at John because his phone died.
Correct.
Four-card Ahmed said, great effort tonight, great all caps, despite the conditions. The early goal definitely helped. I thought defense played better despite the fluke goals. Parentheses, bad sportsmanship and wet OG. Vasquez is becoming a beast. Barco is back. Carlton was much better.
Can we get into Miram for a second?
Yeah.
And what we think we heard and was told that he was being booed at various points and as he was egressing.
I am going to wait until a little more clarification on that, and also until I can go back and
watch it and
watch it and listen to it closely.
Yeah.
I don't even want to get into it without knowing more because that feels very strange. Don't get it. Bad sportsmanship. Four-card Ahmed mentions it. Michael Valverde mentioned it as well. The first goal, Darlington Nagbe was down.
Yeah. And
I'm going to pull up Michael's tweet first. Had a lot. Good. Where are we? A lot of people tweeting. That is good. Valverde says, first goal truly classless. Darlington Nagbe holding head in middle of play, and they recycle to poach a goal. Shameful lack of sportsmanship. Open Cup need better refs. Should be blown dead. I did not think it was a head injury.
I didn't either.
If it's not a head injury, you don't have to blow that dead. If you're Columbus, you got to play it through, and you just have to. If you're Atlanta, you're going to be ticked off about that, and you should be. It's one of those things. Is anybody in the wrong here? I don't think it was a head injury because Nagbe was up when the ball was shot. The shot, Darlington had gotten back to his feet. I would not say they're classless. I feel like that's a little bit of a reach. I don't know what put Nagbe on the ground, and that's the part that I'm a little unclear of. So we'll go back and check, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, on the show tomorrow after we have a chance to look at things a little more closely. You know, watching a game in a bar, you know, with folks, ongoing conversations, it's a little hard to focus on some of the finer details. It's a lot of fun, and thanks everybody who came out and hung out tonight. That was very cool. But little details like that. With Darlington back on his feet by the time the ball was shot, I don't have as much of a problem with it. I didn't really have a problem with it watching it live. It didn't feel like they were out of line. If there was any thought about it being a head injury, the referee has to stop it.
Yes.
100%. I didn't get that impression. We have ongoing conversations about Andy Griffith and the Andy Griffith Show. If you watch the Braves growing up on TBS, when they go to rain delays, it was generally Andy Griffith. It was sometimes This Week in Baseball.
Time to catch up with the Andy Griffith Show.
Yes, as Skip Carey would say. Much later, it was America's Funniest Home Videos. That was always a go-to for the rain delay. We did not pull up Andy Griffith. I was tempted to pull it up on YouTube and try to connect it to the TV. We decided not to wait it out and see what happened. Let's see. What else do we have? Reese Tate was not a fan of ESPN.
Don't have an answer.
Don't know exactly what issue was with ESPN on this. Not sure. Have to hear a little bit more to clarify, Reese. D. Palacios. Let's go back to the conversation. So it was a response to my all caps about Barco to Miles. ATL on fire was not happy with Pitti and said he had a crappy attitude. He's so soft. Frank needs to sit him, needs to become a better teammate. D. Palacios disagrees. I disagree as well. There is gamesmanship that happens in these situations, and we've talked about it before. You work referees as long as you believe they can be worked. And if you watch the way this game concluded, Leandro Gonzalez-Perez is one of the masters at working a referee. He knows when to draw contact, he knows when to complain, he knows when not to complain, he knows when he can get a little bit of a shot in on somebody, and he knows when he needs to be careful. Pity Martinez is trying to draw attention to the fact that he's getting hit on a regular basis. He's not getting calls. That part is 100% true. And it's frustrating, and you know it has to anger him. Staying down, look, I don't care. You get fouled, stay down and draw and make the referee deal with you. It's frustrating that Pedro Santos, with his background, gets calls in this match, and Pity Martinez does not. That should not be happening at this point. I 100% disagree with Pity having a bad attitude or being soft or any of that. Pity plays the game like a lot of players who are at that skill level and have that style of play. Do I wish that he would get some of these calls so he didn't have these situations? 100%. And hopefully that changes here at some point.
And think about international competition. I mean, think about CONCACAF Champions League with Herediano and with Monterrey. You're going to see players try to figure out what they can have, what kind of latitude they can work with officials and how they can work the room and how they can figure things out, and then take that. How far can you push the envelope? What can you get away with if you're trying to have the referee look at things from your perspective, or if you're not getting calls, in PT's case, to continue to remind the official and any official about what's going on here. So, and the commissioner also, after the 35th minute, can no longer back Pity Martinez as well. I'll have to go back and look at that tweet. But Jason Wright has now signed off on Pity Martinez as well.
Well, I disagree with the commissioner as well. There's a different style and mindset about the game in different countries, and that's something that I think Atlanta United fans are going to have to get accustomed to. We saw these comments at different times over the years. We saw them about Ezequiel Barco last year. I remember seeing them about Miguel Almiron.
Yeah.
I remember seeing them about Joseph Martinez. Stop jumping to the hot take opinion on this type of stuff, because I think once you get to know these players a bit in the way they play and get to know them by the way that they play, you start to understand the mindset and the mentality. And that's very, very important. So please don't rush to judgment, is what I would tell you. Please understand that, one, Pity Martinez is drawing a ton of contact and getting hit a lot, and he's not happy about it. And he's trying to make a point. If you watched the Charleston match and you watched the second half when the team was fighting to try to get back into it, Pity Martinez put the team on his back. He was all over the field. Tonight, I thought the work was the same. I disagree with this thing about players are good when they hustle. And it happened about Barco last season. Barco seemed to win the hearts of folks with his performances at the end of the season when he was coming on as a sub and he was just running. and he was just chasing things.
Yeah.
And that was his job, and he did his job very well. And a lot of players who are that talented and that technical and that skilled would not embrace that role in the way he did. And it's a credit to Ezekiel for putting his head down and playing through that and doing it and helping the team. But when players aren't doing that, it doesn't mean that they're doing something wrong. And especially when you are a player like Pity Martinez, I don't want Pity Martinez running all over the place in a random game. I want him fresh to be able to abuse a player 1v1 defensively when he is on the dribble. That's what I want him strong. And he had moments like that tonight. So please, I would say, and I don't even know, tonight didn't even feel that different than any other game. So I don't know why it's coming tonight more than any other time. Please have some patience with a player with this type of talent, because they don't come along every day.
It's not every day that you get the South American Player of the Year to be a part of things.
Yeah, and see, I wouldn't even say it about that, because people will get bent out of shape about him winning that award and whatever. Look, players like Pity Martinez don't come along every day.
No.
They are that talented. I remember talking about this with Barco last year, and it's just you embrace these players, you cherish these players, you want these players to come be part of your club because they are inspiring. You don't see this type of talent every day on any field in any part of the world. Pity Martinez is that special. Go ask a River Plate fan about Pity Martinez and see what they have to say. He is a special player, and is he as good as he was with River Plate last season at the end of the year? No, he's not right now. He's not. He's getting accustomed to a new team. He's getting accustomed to a new style of play, a new league, a new country, lots of new. Give the man some time and support him because he's in this kit. Don't cast him aside right now. That's incredibly harsh on a night like this where you win the match. And Pity Martinez was a part of that.
I'm just going to phrase it this way. And we've all been the new kid at school. And it takes a little while for the new kid to understand where you're supposed to stand, when you're supposed to get on the bus, when your lunch is, what your lunch line is, what your combination of the locker is, who your friends are going to be, who's going to sit with you, all that kind of stuff. Take the patience and understand that the new kid's going through some stuff right now, and it's going to take time for him to be adjusted.
It's a thing, and I don't know how valid this was, but I am so glad to hear that the Pity Martinez song is now being sung in Atlanta United supporter sections. I wish that had started from the beginning. It's an easy one to do.
Yeah.
I want to see more support for these guys in this kit instead of trying to find something to nitpick about, because it's hard to find a lot to complain about with Atlanta United right now. And look, you can't guarantee that these times continue. You can't guarantee that this team wins all the time. It's not easy. So when you have this type of talent and you have these type of situations, please cherish it, because in 10 years when the teams went through a couple of down years and it's been some tough times, you'll remember this. And you'll think back to wishing that you had Pity Martinez at this type of moment. Give the man some support. He needs it. And I don't even think he's playing bad anyway.
No.
But just support him because he's in the kit. That's all. Ricky Ricardo says, I look forward to the new South American designated player we get after Barco goes so he can catch the flack and we can appreciate Pity for the quality talent he is. He's an absurd talent, so just I hope that he gets the support that he deserves. Patrick's chiming in and says it was definitely a Guzan own goal. If the shot's going wide or if it's a cross and it's nowhere near the goal, give it. Look, we saw Tito Villalba get a goal last season that came off the post and off the back of Nick Raimondo and in the goal. That should have been an own goal. This didn't feel that bad to me. So I'll take another look, but I would have just given the goal to the Columbus player
the goal to
because
Francis.
they deserve it.
Yeah, in that muck and mire, give it to Francis.
Yeah,
let him have it.
It doesn't matter. Brad doesn't care.
No.
Let's see. So Patrick did not notice boos for Justin Merrim, but he did look upset leaving the field. Patrick Cox says that's why Merrim was making the okay really face. He got booed. Did not see, but Joseph Martinez came on late against Brazil, and Brazil scored late to go up 1-0. But it came back.
Thank you, Patrick.
I guess it is still scoreless in Copa America.
And U.S. and Guyana still scoreless.
Yeah, it's not exactly a surprise. That's all I got to say about that. Without watching it, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but yeah. Brazil, Venezuela, 95th minute in stoppage time, and it is scoreless. That is an amazing result for Venezuela if they can pull it off and hold on. That's absolutely amazing for that team and that country. Let's see. Brandon Lee wants to buy a Las Vegas Lights jersey. Can't blame him. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah, really?
Brazil had a goal taken off by VAR. I'm sure that went over well.
Yes.
I can only imagine how that went over. Let's see if we can get a clip of it. Yes, we can. All right, we are watching the Brazilian goal that was called back. Jukes him.
Yeah.
What? Why did it come? Why was it off?
Don't know.
Why did VAR get involved? No.
It's a 3-minute clip, which should tell you the analysis. Okay, so here's your first
Maybe
part.
Maybe it's off in the build-up.
I thought it might have been off in the build-up right there.
No, there's nothing off. There's nobody off.
And that?
No. How is there's nobody off? So what's the? Was there a handball somewhere in there?
All right.
I'm skipping ahead because you guys don't really care about us watching a clip.
Jugada bajo revisión del VAR.
Yes, it was being checked. It was checked for a long time.
Wow, that's long.
Was it? I mean,
handball touch?
No, that doesn't. That's not on the ground. Maybe the handball right there inside the 6.
That's what I was thinking. That's the only thing I can see.
Okay, I will check this out on a bigger monitor and see if I can figure it out because that's a little baffling. If you guys have more information, please share it because I'm a little confused.
Because we were watching something else.
Yes, I'm a little confused by that one.
I'm perpetually confused, so...
That's nothing new.
Oh, congratulations on coming to the land of the Caps when it comes to tweeting goals.
Oh, I mean, it happens. I just don't get to do it that often, so... Shiva said if Shea had just scored, that was the most intense 4 minutes of stoppage time. I agree.
Yes.
Barco also had a chance. Both, yes.
Both accurate.
Yeah, it was... I mean, welcome to the Cup. These are the games you get in this type of competition. These things are going to happen, and it honestly is just as much as survive and advance. You're just trying to get through, and Atlanta did tonight. 97th minute. There's going to be a lot of stoppage for that long VAR sequence. So, looking on Twitter, I want to see if there's any other takes out there, even if people weren't adding us, and see what folks are thinking about this one.
All right.
It was originally 7 minutes of stoppage in Brazil. They added 2 more at the end.
And the board came back up?
Well, that's good. That's actually good because usually you don't get that. Turner, the Red Fox Lab, who's always a good boy, chimes in and says, yep, Merrim was booed by the 3 fans that were there in the stands. Next home game, he will cheer by 40,000 at the Benz. Nothing to sweat. Look, it's not a huge reaction from a huge fan base that was there tonight. If it's a few individual folks, that's a bad representation for Columbus Crew fans. There's been a lot of talk about the whole, Save the Crew movement and how it's not paying off in the stands this year. Tonight's a bit of an anomaly. I don't think they promoted the Open Cup well. This has been an issue with a lot of different clubs around the league, and I think the weather as well. You were expecting rain all day, and you got a delay, so I get why it was a small crowd. I don't put this on all Columbus fans. I put it on whoever was actually booing Justin Merrim, if that's the reaction that he got. And it's a shame. I've been really impressed seeing some of the videos and stuff with Merrim. He seems to really enjoy it here, and he seems to enjoy the group he's around. He seems to be, cracking jokes. He cracked a good joke on Jeff Larinowitz and his Twitter, which was reading the newspaper on the bus to Charleston. Merrim really seems to be enjoying himself, and that's good. And that's, again, it's another thing. Like, why is Justin Merrim getting the benefit of the doubt on everything now, and Pity Martinez isn't? I don't understand these things. They both should get it. They both should get the support. There's no reason to be booing any player in an Atlanta United kit. There's no reason to be saying bench them or kick them out or they have a bad attitude. None of that's happening. There's other teams to look for this stuff for. Atlanta's really not one. I mean, look at Pitti celebrating with Vasquez, who those guys have barely played together.
Yeah.
I thought Pitti running over to celebrate with Brandon after his second goal, that was very cool. I just don't get it, but it's just different ways of exploring the game. Okay, we do have a tweet from Justin Merrim, and thank you, Jimmy Vance, for chiming in on this one. Justin Merrim tweeted this. Let me get it all the way back because he's responding to someone. Let's see. So Patrick Murphy said, and Patrick Murphy is, I believe, Pro Soccer USA. No, Bucknuts 247 at 247 Sports, CBS Sports, Columbus Crew for Massive Report, one of the better SB Nation sites out there that covers MLS clubs. Patrick Murphy tweeted, Justin Merrim jogged onto the field at Montfray Stadium, looked over to the Nordeck, pointed and waved and pointed to his heart. Classy move from the former Crew winger. Justin Merrim said on Twitter at 10:25, 3 minutes ago, because I only have love for this club and city, but the booze as I was subbing off, 8 years for this club, LOL, I won't forget it. Thanks for the others who showed love. Good luck the rest of the way, Columbus Crew. So, there you go. It's from a small individual group, and I have no idea why you would be booing Justin Merrim, who it seemed like he wanted to leave Columbus when it looked like the team was going to relocate.
Yeah.
And he had the opportunity for a lot of money to go to Orlando, and he did. And it didn't work out. And he wanted to leave Orlando, and he ended up getting a chance to go back to Columbus. And he gave you what he had last season. He gave you what he had this season. He didn't fit into the way Caleb Porter wanted the team to play. Probably needed a change of scenery after a wild year. And he gets the move to Atlanta, and you got some resources for him. I don't know why anyone would be upset with Justin Merrim in any of that. The only thing I could think of is that people didn't think that he believed in the Save the Crew movement, which didn't exist before the season in 2018.
And it's disappointing when you see something like that to someone who I would think could be considered as much of the fabric of Columbus Crew as other individuals. Still scoreless, by the way, in the 24th.
Still scoreless, U.S. and Guyana. Nathan Humphrey chiming in on that one. Says, I know they both had some injury issues, but wish we had DeAndre Yedlin and Jeff Cameron in the 18. I think Cameron might be past it at this stage.
Yeah.
Yedlin is not. Nathan also says, I'd take Nagby over Bradley all day, every day. It's different roles.
Yeah.
Nagby would not play as a 6 by himself in this situation. Nagby would be in one of the central midfield roles in front of Bradley. I don't think he's a 6 by himself. I just don't think that's the role for Darlington Nagby right now in his career.
But no, just getting back briefly to Justin Merrim, someone who is as much the fabric of that franchise as he is, then it's disappointing that however small that group is still decided that they thought that was an appropriate response.
Yeah, it's disappointing. These things happen. You can't let a couple of dummies represent a whole fan base, and every fan base has them, and It happens. There's things that people would not want to claim out of Atlanta United fans that have happened, and like I said, every fan base, every sport, every club has it happen. You can't let that be the overwhelming story. And as Justin said, it's not about the ones who booed him. It's about the ones who showed him love. So that's what's important here. Let's see what else we got. Mr. Green chimes in. Getting those early goals made a difference. Columbus spent most of the night chasing the match and making it uncomfortable at times, but we saw it out with some bus parking and nice individual defense. Shea on the touchline stopping their counter late was huge. Yeah, I thought... I really like this thing that we're starting to see now with Breck coming on as a left winger in front of the left back, but defending and dropping in as needed. It's an interesting little weapon that not every team has.
And, once again, I look at my notes and I see what Breck Shea was able to do coming in, and I think that coming into this season, if you had an idea of what you wanted Breck Shea to do, I think that tonight in Columbus was an example of that, coming in, giving you 20, 22, coming in, being that gliding offensive force and being there on defense as well. I think that this is the Breck Shea that we all looked at when he was signed in here.
Yeah, absolutely. That veteran experience, he's been in these situations. Nothing's too big for him in these moments, and he showed you needed that tonight, and he gave it to you. Roberto Rojas, who covers the Paraguayan national team, was a big media outlet around the Miguel Almiron stuff. What?
I'm reading
no, I don't care about that. The last part's not the important part. The important part, the funny part about the man of the match being VAR doesn't matter. The important part is that's only the third ever draw between Brazil and Venezuela, which was only possible a decade ago. It's a massive result for Venezuela that they will cherish more than their friendly win over Real Madrid. In Madrid against Argentina. They will cherish this in a competitive match so much more.
Anybody else saying some stuff?
That's what we're checking.
Joe Boss down there with the reference.
I will get it. All right, so Joe Boss.
That one.
Well, let me get all the way back because I missed a couple. Tafka, who, if you've not seen Tafka's part one of his opus, it is on our website, soccerdownhere.net, about, I guess, the Tafka version of MLS and how it would expand and all of that. Part one is up. We'll talk about it a little bit in tomorrow's show, unless craziness happens with the U.S. and Guyana. And U.S. just scored.
I think this one stands.
It should stand, although VAR... Oh, no, there's no VAR here, so it will stand. Remember, there's no VAR in the Gold Cup because CONCACAF likes chaos.
No flags, no nothing, so this one stands.
Paul Arriola gets the goal. Good, he needed one. Tafka chimes in, says, boos for Merrim from the Columbus fans as he comes off. That's pretty... He was good for y'all for a long time. There were where he was coming off, there were probably about 20 people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna booze for Merrim from the 20 people as he comes off that were standing there. Let's clarify. It's not all Columbus fans. Joe Boss says, so now that Brandon Vasquez is fire, what will he do when Joseph Martinez gets back? And then Romario Williams. Well, right now, Brandon Vasquez is your backup forward. Flat out 100%. Brandon Vasquez starts in Toronto on Wednesday. I don't think there's any question about it.
Nope.
And Romario was not bad last week. Brandon is in a hot run of form, and you're going to ride that right now. While Joseph is out, Brandon's your forward. Brandon's not replacing Joseph Martinez. When Joseph's back and ready to go, he is starting every match. Brandon is your attacking option off the bench at this point. He is number 2 on the depth chart up top. Okay, Four-Card Ahmed said a U.S. Open Cup is preview of the MLS playoffs, 100%. 100%. The Colonel says, disappointed that the Stripes lost control of the match. Credit to the crew. Pleased that one team advanced. Yeah, they struggled. It was a weird one in that regard because I thought when Atlanta was good, they were very good. They lost control of the match in large chunks, and that's not what you want to see from a Frank de Boer team. He's not going to be happy about that. The highs were outstanding, and I thought when this team was going forward and really feeling the match, they were great, as good as we've seen. But those didn't happen enough, and the parts where you want the match it's going to level out a little bit because you can't play at a 10 for 90 minutes. You're going to have dips. You had too many dips, and they lasted too long, and that's a problem. After the weather delay, it's tough, and you almost have to chunk that out because it's hard to control that because you're just trying to get back into a rhythm. Before the weather delay and at different points of the match, they lost control of the match for too long of a period of time, and that's something they're going to have to figure out. I think in the middle of the park, it happened at times where their midfield trio of Artur, Guzman, and Santos got control of the match against Atlanta's midfield trio of Barco, Nagbe, and Remedi. I really like Eric Remedi as more of an 8 than a 6. I think as a 6, it requires a little more tactical discipline, a little more positional discipline, and I think it hurts him a bit because it takes away some of the good elements of his game. So Jeff Larinowitz as the 6 in these type of situations, I don't think you lose quite as much control. I don't know if Jeff is ready to play at that type of level, 90 minutes, game in, game out. You have to figure out when you don't have that, how do you get that? And that's maybe one of the questions for Atlanta United as they try to find that next level that they're not quite there yet. It's been good. They're developing, but it's not where it should be. Oh, people are saying that the referee flicked somebody off. I don't think he meant to. And I can't tell if he did, actually. Leandro Gonzalez-Perez and Patrick Mullins were jawing, and I think he's trying to draw him back, and I think he's doing the two fingers, like draw him back, and maybe one finger didn't get where it needed to get. He's not flicking him off. Like, the other mannerisms don't match that. So you got to look for context clues a little bit. I don't think he's trying to flick off Patrick Mullins. That doesn't make any sense. Santa chimes in. It was good to see Mr. and Mrs. Claus tonight. I'm 100% in Pity Nutmeg Martinez's camp. Give the man some time. And who's going to launch his Nutmeg Counter website? I'm here for that. I'm here for that, too. If somebody wants to start a Pity Nutmeg Counter website, please, Wix.com. Go there. That's where we have our website.
Well, and once again, all right, so let's go back and check the tweet quickly. Okay, so we don't have an SU there. So
well, we don't know if they're following those rules yet,
okay.
So we can't claim that just yet.
So we're trying to figure out if this was in fact a tweet from Santa or if it was a tweet from the boss.
It is from the Claus conglomerate. Okay. That's all that needs to be known. The Colonel says, let's not lose sight of the fact that at the root, Justin is a Michigan man playing very close to the Ohio State University. No rivalry there. Yes. That does make it easier to turn. Yeah, that's true. Chattanooga FC got a win tonight, 2-0 over Asheville City. No shock. I mean, Chattanooga's been in a little bit of a run here, so good for them.
Phil
That's
D'Amico
cool.
had a boatload of saves and was standing on his head, apparently.
No, don't say that. That might get people riled up. Ricky Ricardo said, do we know the date and time of the quarterfinal match? We know the date, July 10th. We don't know the time yet, and I don't... Did the club tweet that it was at Mercedes-Benz? I know Chris Furmeister did.
And the graphic by ESPN Plus had match time of 7:30, no independent confirmation.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. If either one, 7:30 is a pretty typical time, so not surprised. Jimmy Vance has a good point. That home quarterfinal is sandwiched between the Red Bulls' emotional second leg of that derby in a steel cage at the Benz on July 7th. Then you go to Seattle the following Sunday.
Charter.
No, you're chartering back. You're not chartering to Seattle. You're chartering back is the plan. You've got this Open Cup match at home, so you're not traveling after the Red Bulls match. That's good. But that adds up, and it's going to be tough to play everybody in those three matches, not even getting into the rest of the schedule. And while we've got a minute, let's go ahead and do that. We will look ahead. It starts on Wednesday next week, 8 o'clock in Toronto, and we will be back on 92.9 The Game.
Yay!
We'll be traveling to Toronto next Wednesday. Saturday, the 29th of June, Atlanta hosts Montreal for a 6 o'clock start at the Benz. July 3rd, Atlanta goes to Chicago, 8 o'clock kick at SeatGeek Stadium in Bridgeview. Then you come back for the Sunday game with Red Bulls on World Final Day with the Women's World Cup Final early. Atlanta and Red Bulls next. Copa America Final next. Gold Cup Final in the evening. Then July 10th, you have that Open Cup quarterfinal against either St. Louis or Cincinnati. July 14th, you go to Seattle. Then you're chartering back because that Wednesday on the 17th, you're hosting Houston. Then you're hosting D.C. on the 21st. Then you get between the 21st and the 26th. That's a little more rest than you're getting the rest of this time. You go to L.A. to face LAFC.
Basically, in July, to start July, it's 6 matches in 18 days.
It is between June 26th and July 26th. It is at Toronto, it's home against Montreal, it's at Chicago, it's home against Red Bulls, it's home in the Open Cup, it's at Seattle, it's home against Houston, it's home against D.C., it's at LAFC.
Is that all?
9 matches.
In a month.
In that month. Get ready, buckle up. And that goes to everybody.
Yes.
You guys too, fans, buckle up.
Buckle up.
Because y'all got to rest.
Find your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Pace yourselves.
Elliot Beaven asked, why is there no VAR in Gold Cup? CONCACAF emoji shrug. It's CONCACAF. It's just what they do.
accurate.
They like to be chaotic. They like chaos. They are embracing the chaos, and you have no VAR in the Gold Cup. VAR in CONCACAF will be amazing when it happens. It will be absolutely insanity. Okay. So we're getting a few things thrown at us. Let me catch up. Jimmy Vance is working tonight. I like it. Thank you, Jimmy. Associate producer remotely tonight. Open Cup quarterfinal, we played at Fifth Third Bank Stadium in Kennesaw, and that was from the Atlanta United tweet. That's what I had thought. That's why when Furmeister tweeted that, I was a little surprised. I had thought it was at Fifth Third Bank. So July 10th, it will be at Fifth Third Bank in Kennesaw. And thank you again to Patrick Cox, who also chimed in on that. Chris, I'm looking at you, Chris Furmeister. I need clarification from you on what happened. We'll talk about it later.
Clarification, confirmation.
Yes. Let me actually go back and unretweet that. Sorry, Chris. You're getting unretweeted. Fill time.
So you're being disretweeted? Unretweeted? Disretweeted? Is probably...
Disretweeted? That doesn't even make sense.
If you're being distweeted? Untweeted?
What? Stop trying to make up words.
Well, I was trying to figure out what the proper word was.
Oh, Chris, no.
There we
Chris
go.
Not deleted it. I am unretweeting you, Chris. Sorry, buddy.
So that has been unretweeted.
Yes. And there's also, Paul Tenorio wrote from The Athletic, because this was making the rounds on the way over here, that David Beckham was selling his stake in Miami, Inter Miami, Miami Beckham's, whatever. That has been refuted. So there's lots of things popping off right about now. Just take a breath when you hear a crazy rumor.
Check the number of followers account has.
No. That's AS in Spain. So that doesn't apply. AS in Spain is legit. They're the ones who reported this. So I get it why you jump with it, but that's a pretty big one to be like, whoa, wait a minute.
Oh, the Arjen Robben one. That's what I was thinking.
That one's a different one. I'm talking about the Beckham one. That was in AS in Spain. So, yeah. Let's see what other tweets we got as people are chiming in and listening and finding us. Thanks, everybody who's hanging out with us after this. G-Rod, why is Guyana in CONCACAF?
Because CONCACAF.
Pinty wasn't DP level tonight. That's the honest fact. We'll come back to that one in a second. Guyana and CONCACAF, I think they probably weren't accepted into CONMEBOL.
Yeah.
CONMEBOL's had 10. They've stuck with 10. They haven't really, I think, made any motions to embrace, because there's a few that are kind of in that boat that they could bring in. They've all went to CONCACAF in the Caribbean, so that's why. Pinty wasn't DP level tonight. That's the honest fact. What's DP level, and are players supposed to be at the same level in every match? I didn't think Pinty was bad. I didn't think there was a massive issue with his performance tonight. I don't know what it is, and my conversations about Pity Martinez are not just about one game. It's about the fact that for whatever reason, I feel like fans are reluctant to embrace him, and I just don't understand it. You don't have players like this come along every day, folks. I don't know what else to tell you. Is he going to have bad nights? Yeah. I didn't even think this was a bad night. Was it as good of a night as he had against Charleston? Nope. I thought he was better against Charleston. I thought he was amazing against Charleston in the second half. I don't know. I don't understand it. But and that's the thing about this game, y'all. Everybody's got opinions, and it's great. I just don't get why opinions about Pity Martinez being good or bad in a match is affecting not just their thoughts about an individual performance, but about, like, we don't like the guy. I don't get that, and I don't get some of the commentary around it. It's just surprising to me. I think you're better off letting this guy, who you've seen really good things from quite often, I don't know why those get lost in the shuffle when he has a night that is not world class. Does Messi get this? Does Ronaldo get this? Does Neymar get this? Does Mbappe get this? Yeah, and as part of it comes with the territory, but I don't think they lack in support from their home fans, and that's where I'm starting to worry it is with Pity, that there's this expectation level that's unfair, and maybe it's just because he's not Miguel Almiron, and maybe that's a big part of it. It's not Pity's fault that Miguel Almiron went to Newcastle. It's not that he pushed Miguel out. Miguel was coming here to play for 2 years and then go to Europe. I mean, Miguel's agent made it pretty clear that He wanted to go to Europe, and that was the next step for him. So if that's part of it, you got to let that go, because it's not fair to compare the two players. They're completely different types of players. And it's not fair to hold Miguel Almiron's departure against Pity Martinez. I hope he can get embraced. I hope he can get embraced like River Plate fans embrace him. Go back and watch the celebrations after River returned to El Monumental, after they won the Copa Libertadores in Spain and then went to the World Club Cup and then came back to Buenos Aires. It was probably a month after they won the Libertadores, and celebrated in their stadium. And go back and look at how people treated Pity. Not saying that that's how you have to feel about him right now, because you didn't experience that like River fans did, but that's the type of emotion that he generates. It's okay to give him a little time and have a little patience with him. It's very similar to what happened to Ezequiel Barco last year.
And that's the example that has stuck in my head, and I just think that I'm hoping with time that folks will take their current opinion of PT when it's a negative opinion and just put it to the side and understand what you have as a part of the roster for Atlanta United. Ricky Ricardo, what are Vasquez's prospects for the first team when MLS play gets back? Have we seen a switch of backup forward?
Yes, I think so. I think Vasquez is the backup right now. I think he's past Mario Williams with his recent performances, and now he's got to hold on to that. G-Rod came back and said, so you can criticize Remedi and being the sixth, but Pity never does any wrong. I've said Pity's had bad games. I've talked about him being ineffective at times. I'm just not looking for every bad thing that the guy does. Remedi, I feel like I've been one of Remedi's biggest supporters, honestly. I love what he brings to the team. I just think he's better served in a more free role. It's not saying he's a bad player. I just think he's better served to be able to be expansive and go chase the game. I don't know. It gets to a point sometimes, and I don't know why it's like we're looking for reasons about Pity Martinez to be bad. I don't get it. And I don't know why when people do say, because this happened about Barco last year too. I mean, I can tell you all different times. I remember the DC game at Audi Field where I think I cited on the radio broadcast that he'd created 5 chances in the first half, and I had people calling me a liar that didn't happen. And it's like, one, I'm pulling the Opta stats, so I'm not even counting them. I didn't do it. And then I'm like, well, man, did they miscount it? Did they give him credit for chances that really weren't there? And went back and watched it the next day, and I mean, he created 5 chances. I'm not looking to kill players on a regular basis for little things. I don't think anybody this season has had a game that they should just be, well, bench the guy. I don't know. That's the thing about this game. I think sometimes it's easy to sit back and get really harsh on things at times without seeing the big picture. And that's what I'm saying, and I want this to be clear. Pity was not at the same level that he was against Charleston. Pity was not at the same level that he was against Orlando. I have to go back on other games. I want to say Vancouver, I really liked his game too. He wasn't at his best that we've seen in an Atlanta United kit tonight. But I didn't think he was bad. And I don't even think that now it's at a point where the criticism is about his play. I think it's people don't like the fact that when he gets hit, he's not jumping up, and they don't like the fact that he's not running around chasing everything. And look, he's not that player. So, I don't know. I don't know. I hope that we get to a point that we can cherish skilled players who are not just hustle guys. I like hustle guys. I was a hustle guy. That was how I played because I didn't have that type of talent. I respect it. But I never want to criticize artists in that way for not being a hustle guy. And I think that's where some of the criticism about Pity is getting to. He's an artist with the ball. He is. He's one of the most talented players that's been in this league. Period. Full stop. So, I don't know. I hope he gets the credit he deserves, and I hope he gets the love from Atlanta United fans that I think he deserves. And I think he will.
Artists come in different forms. Just because if you like Salvador Dali or if you like Leroy Neiman or if you like
There was a third one that I had in my head. Warhol. Just because you like Andy Warhol, other folks won't. And artists come in different forms. And if you just understand and appreciate the artist for that painting that's there and the way that they express themselves, then I think that that's part of the growth of all of this.
I don't love Radiohead. Hate me for that. It's okay. It's not the band that I love. There's different bands that I love that other people don't love. That's how artists are. And G-Rod, dude, we're cool. It's all good. G-Rod tweeted back and said, I didn't say bench him, LOL. Some other people did. I just didn't think he had a good game. G-Rod, it's all good, man. Tafka says he can be better without question. It should be noted that River Plate fans didn't embrace him early on either. Absolutely true. It took him some time coming over from Huracan to River, and to the point that he was booed, and to the point that he did the shushing after scoring a goal, to the point that then when it flipped, there were songs sung for him, and people were recreating his goal in El Monumental that he scored to end the Libertadores final, where he ran the length of the field to score.
We're at the break, 1-0, and I guess this is at Bank of California. So where's the match tonight?
No, it's in Minnesota.
Oh, it's at Allianz, right? Okay, so 1-0 U.S. over Guyana at the break at Allianz.
Okay.
Guyana.
Thomas Jewin chimes in. Guyana is a Caribbean nation and far more closely affiliated with the British West Indies than the rest of South America. Their cricket players play internationally for the West Indies team, comprised of players from all over the Caribbean. It's the Caribbean connection, not the Central American or North American section of CONCACAF that they're connected to. So that makes sense. AA Five Stripes chimes in and says, how many fouls weren't called on Pitti?
A lot.
Seemed the referee gave Columbus free hacks. I don't have a count of that. I do need to start counting that. Let's see how many fouls were called. He was fouled 3 times, which is a lot. Barco was fouled 6 times tonight, by the way. When you start to look at strategy, Pitti 3, Barco 6, Remedi 4, but Remedi's kind of scrappy. That's a little bit different. When your 2 most talented players are getting fouled 9 times in a match, that's a problem.
9 times.
That is a problem. Referees need to protect the talented players more, and it's not new, and it's not an MLS thing. It's been going on really since talented players came to the fore. George Best went through it. Diego Maradona went through it. Johan Cruyff went through it. Artists get hacked in this game because other players can't play at that level. And the easy strategy is to kick them and kick them out of the game. Nick Alifi won't like it, but that's what Italy did to Diego Maradona in the 82 World Cup. Go back and watch the ISO video from the Gole World Cup film where Gentile was the defender who... I mean, it was, if you're a defender, you love it because it was amazing defending and he got away with all of it. But he was just killing Maradona throughout the whole match. If you get away with it, it's good defending. If you don't and it gets punished, then you're going to get exploited for it. You're going to either get sent off or the player is going to get opportunities to beat you. Joe Boss says, by the playoffs, I think Pitti Martinez will be as loved as any Atlanta United player. Patience is a virtue after all. And I hope he gets that. And I think he will. I just... Some of the reactions really do surprise me, and I want to hear that song so loud in the Benz because it's just a cool thing, first off. And I think it would really give him a lift. Whenever, these players give you their all, I just hope they get rewarded for it. That's all.
I would second that motion to the floor, sir. Where are we on the Twitters as we reach the hour mark?
Last call. Last call on the Twitters as we wrap up. Try to wrap up by the start of the second half for the U.S. men. Watch a little bit of that. Ricky Ricardo chimes in and says, since Nagbe, Robinson, and Gazan aren't with the U.S. men's national team, and Zardes and Trapp are, can Columbus blame Greg Berhalter for this loss? Kinda. A little bit. The one that should be there, in my opinion, is Nagbe. I think Nagbe should have been there when Tyler Adams went down.
Gazan?
No, because he's decided that Zach Steffen's the guy. And Gazan shouldn't go and sit the bench. Why would you want to do that? Berhalter's already made his decision about who his goalkeeper is. It's Zach Steffen. I don't think that's necessarily the case, but I'm not making those decisions. I think Brad's been passed over unfairly, but that's just me. Zach Steffen's the guy, and Brad shouldn't go and be a bench warmer and not in a Gold Cup and not to leave the team. I mean, I think he wants to be here. Robinson is right there. His performances have been right there, but Robinson's probably behind Aaron Long and probably behind Walker Zimmerman right now in terms of where they are in the national team pool.
I'm right there with you with where Miles is concerned and with Nagbe, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, Nagbe, I think, would fit in if Berhalter was going to play a different system. But in this system, he wants to more number 10s than a 6 and 8 and a 10 or a 6 and 2 8s. And Nagbe, I think, is best as an 8, a box-to-box. So he's not going to fit that with the way Berhalter wants to play it. Berhalter wants that 8 role to be filled by a right back slotting inside as opposed to a dedicated 8 to pair up with Michael Bradley. So he just doesn't really fit what Greg Berhalter wants to do, and it's a little surprising, but that's just the way it is.
Reminder, tomorrow is Wall Pass Wednesday, right? That's the middle of the week. That tomorrow's Wall Pass Wednesday?
It is. I can't keep up with the days. G-Rod says, last thing, Barco just looks faster, man. Beast. Yeah, he does. He looks like he's gotten stronger, and I think a lot of that is just being here in Atlanta and having, you know, all of the things that Atlanta United has at the club with nutritionists and with weight room and dedicated workout plans and all those kinds of things where he looks stronger, he looks faster, he looks like he's growing up.
More confident from
well, that's a whole different thing. Yeah, I mean, that was already there before, but physically he looks different than he did when he got here, and that's a good thing. I mean, part of it's just growing. The Colonel says, listening to Jason talk about Pitti is terrifying. Incredible talent without incredible hard work, precisely like Freddie Adu. Yikes. I thought he was good early tonight, but faded into absent when we lost control. I think he ran out of gas a little bit. Yeah. Remember, they played Thursday and then turned around to play Tuesday. So they played Thursday, they had regen Friday. I don't know if DeBoer gave them an extra day off or not, but let's say they didn't. They trained Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then traveled. Monday was a light session. So that's a pretty quick turnaround. Pitti was killing himself in the second half in Kennesaw. I just don't think he had it to go 90. So I think he ran out of gas. The incredible talent without incredible hard work. See, this is the thing, and I don't want to go off on another rant and tangent. I'm sorry for doing that tonight. It's not about incredible hard work or lack thereof. It's what you do when you are that incredibly talented player, what you do when you display your artistry is hard work. Like, Pitti Martinez didn't become this because he was just born this way and he doesn't have to work. That's not true. David Beckham didn't become the best crosser of the ball by not working hard. He practiced it. Pitti Martinez practices what he does really well. You can't, in my opinion, say a guy is not a hard worker if they're not just running around the field like a chicken with their head cut off. That's where I push back on it, because I think a lot of times players are not seen as hard workers if they're not doing that. And I felt like last year it was really interesting to see the reactions to Barco, because a lot of people said these things about Barco last year in the postseason when he was coming off the bench and in a role that was pretty much go run around like a chicken with your head cut off. He did that, and then people started to feel differently about him. That's not Pitti's game, and that's not a bad thing. So he's definitely not Freddie Adu. No. But I know what Colonel's saying, but I disagree that the incredible talent and the way Pitti plays does not show hard work. He displays it in a different way than Eric Rometti does. They're different players. They're different types of players. They look differently. It's all different. I mean, people said it when you compared Miguel Almiron and Tito Villalba in the way they ran. In a foot race, pretty similar. Miguel might have had a slight edge. Miguel ran with just smoothness, and Tito runs with, looks like anger. Like, they just look different. People thought Tito worked harder. Miguel is a beast in the way he works in the middle of the field and the ground he covers, but it looked so effortless at times it wasn't considered that way. Pitti's going to be fine. Give the man some time, and I don't even think you need to say that anymore, because he's been pretty good since the beginning of May. So, I don't know. I hope he gets appreciated.
I second the motion to the floor, sir.
Are you still awake?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine.
All right, you might need another Red Bull before driving home.
Red Bull?
Yeah, you might need one.
Since when have I ever had a Red Bull?
Well, you might need one because you sound like you're about to fall asleep.
No, I'm agreeing with you most of the time. So,
couple final things. Emery asks about the conflicting things about the locale. It is Kennesaw, according to Atlanta United. AA Five Stripes ask about how many fouls weren't called on Pitti. If he got 3, what do we want?
11 billion.
No,
I would probably say if not, if he had
another 3 or 4.
Yeah, I would say if he had 3 called, then I would probably say the same thing that weren't called.
Yeah, another 3 or 4. I think that's fair. H.A. Hibbert says, and teach the guy on TV how to say his last name, Vasquez, not Vasquez. I have heard different folks in different parts of the world go Vasquez on that. People that it would surprise me that say it.
Yeah.
There's an element, I think it's really easy to jump on folks about pronunciation. There is an element of regionalization from the person speaking,
yes,
as opposed to the name of the person.
Yes.
Had a very long conversation, and hey, since it's 11:03, we can talk about this. Had a very long conversation with Kevin Egan around the whole Villalba thing. And I think we had talked about it enough and why it was Villalba and that it was comfortable. And it was comfortable for me because I had learned Spanish in that manner. I just got lucky and had a student teacher when I was in high school that was from Argentina. So the double L being like a ZH, like a J type of sound, it was completely natural to me. So that's how I said his name because I knew that's how it would be said in his home country. But that's not as common here. And I think it easily threw people off because I had plenty of people telling me that I was stupid for pronouncing it that way. That's how it would be said there. But also Villalba is completely acceptable. I think Tito's mom would call him Tito Villalba.
And that's usually the way it is for me when I'm trying to get, go ahead, But,
and this was the point that Kevin made that I think is very good. Okay, the Villalba part is common.
Yes.
And his mom would say that. But a player, and I'm trying to think of the perfect example, the Castilian Spanish. A player from Spain, Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
You say it with the th.
Oh.
Not Xabi Alonso.
Jose Maria
Olazabal. See, I knew Olazabal because I had heard that, and I was comfortable with it, and that's how I would say it. That's very uncommon in the United States.
Yeah.
So to say that on a U.S. broadcast was not easy to make common. So there are different lines to it. For me, it's Vasquez because that's how I know Spanish.
Right.
I do know, I think generally this is a British pronunciation that gets the Vasquez. That's how I've generally heard it. I've heard lots of British pronunciations of QU in Spanish names get the British version of it, the Quez, as opposed to Quez. Just like Roberto Martinez instead of Martinez.
Yes.
So little things like that. It's not necessarily wrong. I think some of it depends on your audience.
Yeah.
And I think for us, like, if we had a player, Olazabal, would we say that in a radio call? I think Mike and I would be comfortable to do that.
Yeah.
But we would probably talk about why we do that quite often. I think we were completely comfortable, and everybody at the station was comfortable with Villalba. And it's not a knock. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. More people knew him as Tito Villalba. That's just a factor. I think we had talked so much about Villalba that people knew it and were comfortable with it and float back and forth, and I'm just used to it at this point. So I get it. In my opinion, the line is hard to define. Vasquez is really common to me. It's not as common to others. So I get it. I'd like it to be uniform, but it's never going to be that way because we say different words different ways.
Yeah.
We just do. And depending on where you're from, some things are harder than others.
Yeah, it's the regionalization of the Anglification of a word. But, I mean, people in different parts of the country say things different ways, and that's just the bottom line. And for me, When I'm doing any kind of a match, it's along the lines of when I'm interviewing somebody, when your mom's mad at you, how did they say your full name? So that's usually how I end up identifying someone when I'm talking to that particular person, and that's just how it rolls.
All right. We're in the last call segment. We'll try to hit these kind of quick. Ricky Ricardo, early thoughts on how Atlanta United handles the 3-game stretch with Red Bulls, Open Cup, and Seattle. I think it's hard to isolate that. I think it's going to be kind of a next man up scenario with that month of 9 games. I think when you look at it, you have Chicago ahead of it, and you travel, and you get 3 home games around that one. So you go to Toronto, you come back from Montreal, you go to Chicago, then you get back-to-back home games with Red Bulls and the quarterfinal. I think the quarterfinal you probably do rotate a little bit. I think Chicago you might rotate a little bit on the road. You might leave some folks at home. Red Bulls, I think you're going full bore, and you want to win that. And Seattle, I think you're going full bore at that point too. But a lot of it's going to be just next man up and who's healthy and who's ready to go and who's feeling good. Mr. Green says, does U.S. Soccer prefer grass, and is that why we're playing the Open Cup at Kennesaw? They do state that in the bylaws that they prefer grass. They've never turned down a venue that I know of that meets all the other standards that is turf. I think it's, for Atlanta United, it's based off the opponent, and I think it's based off costs. I mean, opening up the bins is not cheap.
No.
So I think for an opponent like St. Louis, USL Championship, or Cincinnati coming back again on fairly short notice, it's a big ask. So I would stay away from it. Oh, we're back in action, 1-0 still?
Yep. Second half just started.
Turner, the Red Fox Lab, asks, why do some announcers insist on saying offsides as opposed to offside? Isn't offsides a hockey term?
Yes.
Football term, too. I don't know. I don't know why they insist on it. I think a couple times I heard it tonight, but I also heard talking about multiple offsides calls, which would be correct.
Yes.
If you do multiple sports, I think sometimes that's a tricky one.
And I can vouch for that. And you have to, yes, for hockey and for FOOTBALL football, it is offsides. And it does take some training to lock your head into the notion of it being a singular offside call with the flag being up when it comes to soccer. So, yes, it just takes some reorienting of your brain and putting a big word on a piece of tape on a sidewall to remind you, offside, 1.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
All right, that's going to do it. We'll be back in the morning. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Thanks, everybody, for being part of the post-match party. We appreciate it. We'll have stuff around that quarterfinal, July 10th, pre and post, unless things change with broadcast contracts. That's the plan. Tomorrow morning, we'll talk more about Atlanta United and Columbus. We'll talk about the U.S. We'll talk Women's World Cup as well. Really interesting games tomorrow in terms of placement. England and Japan, Argentina, Scotland, which could be one of the more compelling games of the tournament, with both having a chance to go through. Lots of fun. We'll talk about Brazil and Venezuela, too, once you get a chance to see the highlights of that. Huge point for Venezuela and Joseph Martinez and other MLS players. Thanks, y'all. We appreciate it. Thanks for all the tweets. Mucho platio.
Mucho platio. 1-0 early second half.